that was rock bottom. They've had a lot of bad losses, right? The Washington loss was bad. The Atlanta loss was bad. They've had collapses. They've had no-shows. They've already had like 3 players-only meetings that we know of. But they had a players-only meeting after the Indiana game, said the right things, said they were pissed, then came out in this game and blew another lead. Charlotte, that team is so sorry. They've played 50 games this year and won 14 of them. Played 50, won 14 in the NBA. Like, they are firmly going for Wembanyama. And the Bulls had that shooting performance unbelievable. Like, the whole thing was just so tough to watch. They are maddening. They are underperforming. Like, even the fact that they're a flawed roster, which they are. I thought Cody Westerlund had a good piece on the Scores website today about that the ire should go to the front office. And I don't think that absolves players, but the whole thing's not supposed to fall apart because Lonzo isn't there, even though I think Lonzo is very key and very good and very underrated and does duct tape a lot of the problems in the roster. But what's maddening is we've seen them beat Boston. We've seen them beat Milwaukee. We've seen them without Lonzo play high-intensity, consistent basketball with a commitment to effort on the defensive end of the floor and the ball moving on the offensive end of the floor. We've seen it without Lonzo. But then they just keep dropping these games to bad teams, and eventually the only conclusion you could draw is they're a bad team. And I know sometimes I think about this stuff a little more dispassionately than many of you would like me to, and I am a Bulls fan. I still do have rooting interest in that team, but what I would say is this team isn't winning anything. They're not winning anything that matters. They're not winning anything that you would sell a hat to, sell a T-shirt to. They're not nothing. So once you reach that conclusion, your general manager's job is to get worse. It's to sell off assets, to acquire assets that can help you for the future, for the next team that is potentially capable of winning something that they sell hats and T-shirts for. That's the job. It's not the job of the fan. It's not the job of the player. It's not the job of the coach. Fan, you can watch or not watch if you think the product is worthy of your time. Coaches and players, they try to win every game. Front offices, their job is to be thinking from the 30,000-foot view at all times about the current team and about the future team. He assembled this team to win now. This team is not capable of winning now. So you have to dismantle the current team so that you've got a better shot to build a future team that can win sooner than later. So I would be looking to trade Vooch, no question. The reports out there about being able to get multiple first-round picks for Alex Caruso. Caruso, honestly, is the most professional player on the Bulls. And he's only 28 years old. So that one would hurt, but you got to trade something to get something. And he's not a point guard. And so a team that thinks they can win a championship in the next couple of years maybe would give you a couple of non-protected first-round picks. And those picks are going to be in the late 20s if you use them, but you can trade them and package them into other things. So if you told me you had to trade Caruso, fine. If you told me you had to trade DeMar DeRozan, fine. If you told me you were trading Kobe White, fine. The guys that I would not be trading. 1, Zach LaVine. Not because he's perfect, not because he's blameless, but because you're selling way too low. With Vooch, it's an expiring deal. With DeMar, he's old. With Zach, you might have to trade that contract, but you don't want to trade it yet. Move some of the other pieces out there. Let him go average 32 a night or something. Lead the league in scoring for a stretch of time. Then maybe you could sell more in the offseason if you feel like you need to. But I wouldn't trade Zach LaVine yet. And then the other guy I wouldn't trade is Patrick Williams. free up some minutes, make him know that he needs to be more aggressive, and see if he can develop while playing. I would not be interested in I would be wanting to get more minutes for Ayo, even though you got to make a contract decision on him this year. I'd be looking to get more minutes. Not that Dalen Terry seems ready at all, but I'd be looking to get minutes for Dalen Terry. I'd be looking to get a ton of minutes for Patrick Williams. And you have to make tough decisions because Lonzo is not walking through that door this year, but he might next year. And if next year you have Lonzo and Zach and a Patrick Williams who over the last 30 games, 40 games of this season takes some sort of leap, 30 games, you could reasonably have higher expectations for where he could be. But you're not bringing back Vooch. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work. And are you giving DeMar DeRozan another contract a year from now? Maybe. On a reduced rate? To be a scorer off the bench and a veteran presence? Maybe. But if a team thinks that they want DeMar DeRozan's closing ability and ISO scoring and whatever leadership he would allegedly bring that we're not really seeing on this team right now, trade him. You got to be open for business. And even the guys that I said I wouldn't want to trade, if you got blown away on offers for them, you would trade them too. No one's untouchable. This team it's over. Over. Over and done with. So I'll still watch because it's a glutton for punishment in football's ending, but they're not winning anything this year. Play way too much hero ball, not enough consistent effort, play down to their competition. It's just unlikable across the board.